Those giant weapons.
Hello, welcome to episode 132 of Chet and John's Reassuring... Right. Hello, welcome to episode 133 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton, with me as always, Chet Roivas.
Hello.
2 top 10 lists, 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we played the most. That's enough shit. Let's get this thing started.
Okay, all right. My number 10 is a game called The Worst Game Ever.
Sounds good.
I saw it recommended, or I suppose fleetingly discussed rather, on Twitter, and it is a Flash game that's available in a few places, but primarily you can find it on Newgrounds. It's a platformer in which you move a stick man with a green square for a torso and a yellow face around, jumping on blocks. Each screen has a key on it, which is always on top of one of the blocks at the top of the screen, and you jump and you jump and you get a key, and then there's another situation you do the same thing. There's no music. It's buggy, thoroughly elementary, and it works fine, or rather, sorry, it worked fine until I got my arm stuck in the sky. There's no reason for my stickman arm to have gotten stuck, but it did. The only thing that is nice about it is that the comments underneath it on Newgrounds were really positive. They were like, "Great first try, man. Keep going. You'll keep improving and stuff." You know, every other game on Newgrounds could be the exact opposite of that. But I thought, oh, it's nice. It's people who are like trying to encourage this person to, to build on this. But yeah, don't play the game. It's not the worst game ever. That would have been more interesting than this. This is just a really shit platformer that is buggy and crap. So yeah.
What led you to it?
I saw some conversation about it on Twitter, so I put the worst game ever. I think it might have been an iOS game that was actually quite good, and I found the Newgrounds one, so I don't know. I failed.
Okay. Talking of failure, my number 10 is Eternal Nightmare, a game that you talked about last week and you encouraged me to play.
Yeah.
It's quite something.
Yeah.
As you said, it's a Contra game. It looks like... I mean, Nightmare is a great description of it, really, because it is just all the weird shit you might see in a horrible nightmare. But I just love the graphics because they're so unbelievably bad. They just look like they've been drawn. They look like I just drew them and just stuck them in a game somehow, and that's kind of charming. It's unbelievably difficult, obviously. I actually liked part of it, but it was just too hard, and I couldn't really see the bullets that were coming at me very easily. I ended up just getting clipped, and I don't think the hitbox was quite right on the little man. So sometimes I swear I wasn't getting hit, and I was. It's just with a little bit of tightening, I think I would actually really enjoy it because it was so varied. All the stuff that kept appearing that you had to shoot. Then those giant weapons fall down the screen, and they all seem worse than your normal weapon. Yeah. I mean, I'm always amazed at someone who can make a game like that, and I just think I could have actually made this if I didn't had any idea how. But apart from that, I think I could draw a weird dragon, and Although some of the voices are a bit annoying, but. It is, what a strange game.
It's totally acceptable, though. I mean, I think those people who really, if there are any left, people who genuinely invest money in XSplit games, I think that would be, if not a high point, then something that quite a few people would not regret paying for. Yeah.
Definitely. And it's one ugly bastard.
It really is an ugly game. There's footage on our YouTube channel if you want to see what it looks like, because it's horrible looking. My number 9 is also horrible looking. It's a game called Jet Car Stunts on the Xbox 360. I don't really know where to start with this because it's an Xbox Live Arcade game, but the cover art genuinely, I saw it and I thought this is a mistake. I thought they'd accidentally put an indie game in the wrong place because the image is out of focus, it's lopsided, there's no details, and that orange arcade banner at the top wasn't on it. Oh, yeah. So I thought it was a mistake, but it's not a mistake. Its development might have been a mistake, but this is actually an arcade game, and a pretty bloody lousy one at that. I've only played the trial, but quite a large chunk is free, which probably wasn't the wisest decision from a business perspective. All the game is you drive around on a load of extremely... it's just a barren environment, blocks with no detail on them floating above a skyline. That's it. It sort of looks like that game. What was that? a really early Xbox Live Arcade game with marbles. It was Marble Blast?
Yeah, Marble Blast Ultra, I think it was called.
Marble Blast Ultra, a genuinely good game. It looks, the environments and the backgrounds look like that, but way worse. The controls are all over the place. You're kind of pinned to the ground when you're driving on the road, and then you have almost no control while you're airborne, which is almost constantly, because most of the levels, they're called platformer levels, so this isn't really a racing game, it's a platformer. And then there are extra levels where you have to collect glowing yellow stars that just seem completely unattainable. I don't know how I'm supposed to get them. You look at them, you're like, I'm in a car, how am I supposed to jump up there? It doesn't make any sense. I googled this to find out a bit more about it, because it's such a weird thing to have appeared on arcade, and I discovered that it's actually a really highly regarded iOS and Android game, very much loved. So yeah, that pretty much explains it. The full version of Jet Car Stunts costs, I think it's £1.69 on iOS or thereabouts, whereas this version of the same game, which appears to barely function properly, is available on Xbox 360 for £5.59. I wouldn't if I were you. There aren't many games. Have there been any games that have gone from iOS to console and not been terrible?
I don't know. I never played the console Angry Birds.
Oh, I'm sure that was possible. They probably pumped a bit of money into that.
Yeah, but then again, I'm sure it wouldn't have been as good as not doing it on a touchscreen. So. Oh
no, but I'm sure that not as good. I mean, this just didn't really work. I don't know how the game is supposed to be played, and it's such a botch job as well. It looks like an iOS game blown up. So, Jet Car Stunts. I wouldn't bother, but I've only tried the trial. Maybe it's the best game ever made.
Jetstar, and I'll leave it at that. Number
Jetstar.
9.
Jet Car.
Yeah, work it out. Number 9 for me, Jetstar Cunts. My number 9 is a game called One Night, Two Crazies, which is, I'm assuming, on your list as well.
It's my number 8, yeah.
Okay, sweet. From the same guys who made Eternal Nightmare.
It's just one guy.
Okay. This is better than Eternal Nightmare. A game where you sit at like the CCTV panel inside a house. For some reason, there was a reason that was explained at the beginning of the game, but I didn't really pick up on it. And you can switch between the different cameras. The idea being that there's a crazy person in the house, and you can like follow them on the cameras, and you have to stop them getting to you. When they come near you, you can kind of lean away from the CCTV setup and shut the door with an outstretched arm that looks like it's made out of real motion. It looks like a real arm. And if you hold the door shut too long, you go crazy. If you don't shut the door, then the baddie comes and gets you. And you have to survive like a couple of minutes or something like that, and then you win the night, and then it goes on to the next night. One of the baddies has got it's like a half man, half spider thing. I must admit, it got me a couple of times.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of looking through this murky grey, black and white CCTV footage, looking for the things, and it's always the same. If they're in the room, it's like one image, and if they're not in the room, it's another image. So it's really, really simple, basic setup. But like one time, then I was looking, so I decided, okay, I'll just lean across, and the fucking guy went, "Raw!" I mean, it did shit me up. It made me laugh. It wasn't horrendous or anything like that, but quite a good idea and quite well executed, I thought. I don't know what's the deal with that weird music that plays at the beginning of each level, though. Is it supposed to be a mobile phone ring?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the weird music. I forgot about that. Yeah,
it's really cheesy glockenspiel type music. Seems really out of place. Then I thought maybe it's supposed to be a mobile phone ringtone.
Right. I don't know. But yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, it's kind of like, I suppose it's an homage to Night Trap, but there's no video. It's all stills. And like you, it did make me jump a couple of times. But it's barely interactive, and it's completely unclear what skills, if any, you can employ to stay alive, because the enemies appear in different rooms at random.
Yeah.
And if they're in the room next to you, it doesn't mean they're near, because they may go back to being at the front door, or next to, there didn't seem to be any skill involved. So, and it is
there wasn't, no.
It's kind of adorable how it kind of trips itself up by trying to be unsettling. Because at one point you can look at a camera, and there's a guy in a hockey mask standing in a doorway. So and then you notice he's holding a hockey stick. That's the worst. That's not a weapon. I could deck you with a pillow. That's rubbish. And if the hockey stick guy appears in the living room, he's sort of sitting politely on a chair with the hockey stick on his lap, like he's asked for permission to go to the toilet. It's really some bits of it are very funny, and there's obviously going to be a twist of some kind because this is all a simulation with the narration and everything. So something will, I hope, go wrong. But I haven't. I mean, the trial was pretty good. How many days did you survive?
I think I did 3 days in the end.
Okay.
And then I just thought, I just can't face doing this again and having the man jump out at me and just sitting there looking at the CCTV footage. But yeah, it was quite good. It made me laugh. Fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's probably not much of a game, but the couple of jumps and successful horror games on XBlig often aren't very interactive anyway. So this could probably do okay.
Yeah, I think so. Probably better than Eternal Nightmare anyway.
Yeah, probably.
So that was your number 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 8 then is EA Sports UFC on Xbox One. Once again, they have unleashed another free content update quite soon after the last one. This has got 2 new fighters in it. Again, this is free. It really is quite amazing what they've done. So you've got 2 fighters, Gunnar Nelson, the Icelandic fighter, and Tim Kennedy, who fought Bisping not long ago. They both look great and look like they do in real life. You can never really fault the graphics in the game, and they've done some not significant. That's actually the wrong word, but some significant. If you play the game a lot, changes to the gameplay. It's stuff again that should have been in there day one. Stuff that I picked up in my initial review, as did others. First of which is that when you shoot a takedown, one of the dangers of shooting a takedown on someone. You can imagine trying to rugby tackle someone in a street fight. They could grab your head and squeeze your neck. Yeah. I mean that goes down to scruffy fighting in the street, and it's like quite a classic way of losing a fight in high level mixed martial arts. You fuck up, you leave your neck out, someone chokes you. It's called a guillotine. Now you can hit that with certain fighters if you deny the takedown with the right input at the right time. You can catch them in the guillotine on the way down. It's not a guaranteed submission or anything, but it puts the submission on straight away. It's been in it was in all 3 THQ UFC games. Was it in? I think it might have been in EA MMA as well. But it's kind of like an essential takedown defense. Like, it had to be in there, so they got it in there finally. There's some other small changes to stamina and things like that. I think Nick Diaz is now available at middleweight because he's fighting Anderson Silva at the beginning of next year, which is going to be awesome, so you can do that in the game. And the final thing they're doing is it's called Finish the Fight 2.0. One of the updates that they did previously included Finish the Fight, which allowed you a much more realistic post knockdown or post, like, almost knocking them out type of rush. And this now allows you, previously, like, clip a guy and you'd end up just swinging at thin air. Or they drop down, your guy would just end up throwing 2 or 3 punches at thin air before it realised that it needed to jump on him to punch him on the ground. It always looks stupid. But now you can kind of chase him down with the guy that clipped him gets kind of a rush of speed, and you can chase him down and sort of smash him across the ring. Looks really good. Some people say that it's kind of upset the balance of the game slightly. So it's much harder to defend yourself when you've been kind of almost knocked out. But it needed to be in there as well. The game that they have now, I don't know if there's going to be any more updates. They say there might be, but there might not. So I'm going to take that as there won't be. But amazing. They haven't charged for any of it. 3 big packs. That's 8 new fighters for free. And now it's a really good MMA game now. It's still not perfect, but from where they were to where they are, it's quite something. I've never really seen anything like it in terms of post-release support. They fundamentally changed the way their game plays.
Well, that's really encouraging. Have you played? Is there still a community online?
Yeah. I could get a game straight away, no problem. Great. So it must have done reasonably well. Yeah. It was like it always gives you a counter of how many players online, but when I jumped on, it was like 600-700 or something like that. And FIFA always says naught, so I mean, I don't know what that means, but there was always a game to be had. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to dust that off again because I liked it fine initially, but I just
it's a much better game now, much better.
Cool. All right, good. Did you say Anderson Silva's fighting?
He's fighting Nick Diaz, in January.
So his leg is fine?
Yeah, he's been fine for a while, yeah. Weirdly, that injury is a way less severe injury than, like, tearing your knee or doing that's way worse. Even though it looked worse, what happened to Anderson Silva. If you haven't seen it, YouTube Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman leg break if you want to see something horrendous.
Yeah, I was like, that guy's career's over. That's the end.
Yeah, no, he was back walking around within like 2 months or something.
Oh shit! Okay, all right. All right. Well, my number 7 is Bayonetta 2 on the Nintendo Wii U.
Oh, nice.
The demo is now available on the Nintendo eShop, which was a very pleasant surprise. And I played the demo twice. It's about 10 minutes long or so. I played it twice because there were some new sort of touchscreen-based controls. So I played it once with those and once with buttons and thumbsticks. And the touchscreen controls are okay. They work. It's clearly a lot more than just some tokenistic addition. But I don't know how compelling that scheme will be in the long term because, I mean, for a couple of reasons, but primarily because I found it almost impossible not to stare at the gamepad. Needless to say, it looks immeasurably better on the screen, but I just found myself staring at the gamepad. You weren't getting the full experience that way.
Yeah.
So I'll stick to the buttons, which is what I was going to do anyway. And, you know, I don't know how touchscreen controls are going to translate because this is not a massively accessible. It's like the last one. It's not a massively accessible game. It's a pure video game. I don't know how best to describe what I mean by that. But if someone stopped me in the street and said, "What's a video game?" I might say Bayonetta. It's one of a handful of games that I might say, and I'm not sure why. But I guess it's because we kind of grew up. What are you laughing at?
That scenario happening. Someone stopping you.
What's
in the street.
A video game? Yeah, what's a video game? But I guess it's because when we grew up, like in the PS2 era, most of the games that led to this kind of first emerged in that period. And also, it's the kind of game that when you're sitting and looking at it, you know that most people would not understand anything that's happening and probably would not want to understand it in the slightest. So, I mean, it's very much a sequel to the first game. If you are in any way self-conscious about your hobby, close the fucking curtains because it's one of those... if you played the first Bayonetta, you know what you're getting. Large city landmarks are destroyed in an instant. Everything moves so quickly that you can often not see anything clearly. A half-naked woman summons a demon made out of her hair. All the main ones. And yeah, it's more Bayonetta. It's ridiculously loud. The combat is just impossibly tight, and it looks pretty damn good as well. Although a couple of the sort of brief cinematics in between fights were a little bit grainy and washed out, which hopefully won't be the case in the finished game. There's a couple of tiny moments that I'm sure most people didn't notice, but aside from that, it feels excellent. I liked Bayonetta, the first one, a great deal, but I never loved it. But I guess I just didn't arrive at the right time, but I'm ready to love this. It's a really terrific demo, and the advanced word, obviously, with the Edge 10 and whatnot, is getting everyone excited. And now this is a really good demo. It's looking like a rather good game, I think.
Yes, I am excited for it. And I was planning on playing the first one again, which I've never finished on the Wii U. But then all that stuff happened, and you don't get it. And I wasn't really paying anywhere near enough attention to what any of that meant. So now I've got it on 360 with my save. So I'll get to the end of it one day.
The second one looks good. It looks very good.
Awesome. I'll probably check that demo out tomorrow. All right. My number 7 then is a game called Pix The Cat on PlayStation Vita. I played it on. Did you have to play this week?
It's higher on my list, yeah.
Okay. Should we leave it till then? Because I didn't really... You probably will be able to explain it better than me.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, then we can leave it. Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Okay, well, my number 6 is probably on your list as well. It's Forza Horizon 2.
Yeah, it's a little higher on my list.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's leave that then, because I don't really have a massive amount to say about that one.
Okay. My number 6 is a game called Desert Golfing on Android, but popular on iOS as well. We have friends Matt Murray and Dave Turner were telling us to get on it, and it was only $1.19 on the Google Play Store. I think it was more on the iOS Store. So I thought I would, and very good it is too. Unbelievably simple. A very, very plain side-on 2D set of hills with a little hole in it, and you drag the touchscreen, Angry Bird style, I guess, and ping a little golf ball and try and get it in the hole. You get it in, and it moves on to another hole, and it never ends. But at first, I thought it was awful, because at first I thought you had to drag your little arrow out of the golf ball itself. So when the ball was stuck in the bottom corner of the screen, there wasn't enough room to get any purchase on it. And I thought, this is crap. And then they told me you could just drag from anywhere on the screen. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And once I worked that out, it's, there's that kind of feedback between you dragging your little arrow and just pinging the ball is really tight. The game entirely lives and dies on the feedback of that arrow and how it feels when you ping the ball, because it's such a simple game. And I don't think they could have possibly got it any better. really quickly you start to feel like you can do very, very precise, complicated shots, like up over a hill and just getting it onto the little mound before it trickles down the other side and falls off the screen. You have to do it again. Very quickly you start to believe that you can nail these types of shots. And when if you do, when you ping it across the screen, it goes all the way up into the sky and then just drops directly into the hole, it's satisfying as shit. I don't know what to say beyond that. It seems to, I don't know if it's endless. I don't know if the courses are designed or randomly generated, because it's so basic that it could be either, to be honest, and I haven't read up on it. But a cool game, and Matt described it himself in messages to us, saying it's like the first mobile game in ages he's enjoyed. It's not quite that for me, because I've played a few like that WWE card game, but the first of that type of mobile game that I've enjoyed properly in a while. By that type, I mean just like a kind of specific curio that couldn't exist on any other format, and almost like the types of games that were appearing on iPhone before everything went all free to play and horrible. But yeah, I dig it. It's good.
You're going to keep playing it?
Yeah. It's just it's satisfying to get the ball in the hole, and it's super simple, and it's completely inoffensive in every single way. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it is what it is. It's like £1 for some fun.
Okay. Yeah, I keep seeing screenshots, and Matt was like, "Oh, get it! It's so addictive. I can't get off it." And I was like, "I don't need that. I don't need one of those. Thanks. Paying £1 to just not be able to put your phone down." I read a story in the week by Simon Parkin about a game that's come out and people are obsessed with it, and the second half of the game, or maybe the whole of the game, is randomly generated, and someone's got to like level 800. I thought maybe it was this.
Maybe it was, yeah.
Is it desert golfing? I'll have to look up on that, because it was there was a story about it in the week.
I think there was a story on Eurogamer about this game, or maybe in the New Yorker. So yeah, I think it was probably this game, because that's why I first heard of it, and then Matt mentioned it. It's good. Yeah,
I think someone's got to level 8,000, and the guy that made the game was just like, "Stop, please. There's nothing to find. You're not going to find like something interesting, or I think the person who's got that far just wants to try and break the game more than anything else. But I doubt I'll play it, but maybe I will. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just kind of like something to do that's quite fun.
Indeed. Okay, all right. Well, my number 5 is also quite fun. It's a game called Kitty Power's Matchmaker on iOS.
I saw this at EGX.
Yeah, it was a listener recommendation last week, the early part of last week, and I looked at it and I was like, that's got to be a joke. But then I started reading people finding it at Eurogamer and saying it was really, really good. So I downloaded it. It's about £2. Wow! I don't know where to begin. There's so much to say about how the game actually works that I'll try and keep that sort of... Basically, the game involves you being a new matchmaker working for this person called Kitty Powers, and her job, she's a matchmaker. She has like this dating agency, and she has to put couples together, and you have to match like-minded people. It kind of reminded me of that movie Roxanne with Steve Martin, because you're coaching your clients through how to succeed on these things, and sometimes you encourage them to lie, etc., etc. If you want to try and get them to impress their date, you have to lie, convince them to lie, and then you have to pass it's a mini game compilation basically. If you want them to lie, a Wheel of Fortune thing comes up, and it's a mini game, and if you fail that, they don't believe you, and that's going to help the prospects on the date. You can also do the person you're with can also do things like disappear halfway through a meal at a restaurant, and then they can come back and go, "Hey, I fixed my style emergency. How do I look?" And you have to identify what's changed about them, so it's like spot the difference. And you just have to you have 3 opportunities to find each person a date. Otherwise, they leave your company and go to another dating agency. And once you've made a couple, they send you messages about their relationship. They send you letters, and good ones. If, "Hey, we got married, we've had kids, A+," then you get sent some extra points, etc. And as you keep succeeding, you expand your salon so that you can style people's hair before a date to make them sort of fit the specs of what the person's looking for. And you can also get more affluent clients who want to sort of visit swankier restaurants where the puzzles are a little bit more difficult. It is basically a very, very amusing mini-game compilation. So spot the difference puzzles and all sorts of random things. There was one game where I was sitting at the dinner table, or rather the person I was trying to get a date, And he started getting gas, and he was like, I can't break wind. So in order to stop him farting at the table, I had to play like a higher or lower card game, like higher than the queen. And if you fail that, then he breaks wind and it hurts the chances. It's loads and loads of stuff like that. It looks good. It's really well animated. I mean, there are a couple of flaws. I mean, after you've played it for a little while, you notice that you can't be honest about your job if you have a shit job. 99% of your people, if you're a bus driver and you say bus driver, then they're like, all right, I suppose that's something. You know, they get. Right. You have to lie. That's one of those questions in which you always have to lie, because they always just think your job is wank. So that doesn't change until you start getting the more affluent customers and start expanding your business. So it's a game that's supposed to last quite a long time, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's actually very good, in fact. I mean, it's the kind of thing that's... It's kind of in a weird sort of halfway house between being a game you can play in short bursts and a game that's meant to be played over a long period of time. So it's not quite a game you can pick up and play, because going out to a meal and all that... doing all the bits and pieces takes probably about 5 minutes each time, okay. which is a short amount of time. But I suppose I'm comparing it to something like Angry Birds or something like that. But... I wasn't expecting to like this. I thought people were winding me up, but it's genuinely well made, and it's amusing, and very weird also. Very tantalisingly weird, but it's good. I recommend it. It's £2 on iOS. I played it on an iPad. I'm sure it'll work great on iPhone as well. Get it?
Yeah, this was, like I said, it was at EGX in the Resd area, and it was the first game that I saw, in fact, because their booth was like neon pink or whatever the colour is, like bright pink. And I was a little bit hungover and just kind of sort of walking upstairs. I was okay, but you know, when you just kind of woken up and hadn't really had any breakfast, and I was a bit hungover, and they had this really, really tall drag queen walking around, like trying to promote the game, handing out badges, and I just saw the pink and the drag queen, and I was like, I can't handle that right now. I need to just go in the other direction. And I never came back. But when I was walking past it, when I felt a little more normal, I realised that it wasn't like you. I thought, this is definitely not my cup of tea, just from the name and everything. I was like, I don't want to know what this is. But then I realised later on that it was actually like, it's supposed to be funny. So I meant to have a go at it, but it was busy by that point. But yeah, it was that was quite a shock. Pretty much the first thing I saw when I went upstairs at EGX.
Do you know? I suppose you wouldn't know. I should have checked this. I don't know where the studio's from.
I don't know.
Because all of the characters speak in weird sort of half Californian, half Cockney. Really, really overdone Cockney, so I can't really... I mean, I don't know whether that's just they wouldn't have bothered localising it just for here, because...
No.
I don't know. It is a very, very weird game. I'll say that again, but very enjoyable. It's good. I recommend it.
What's it called again?
Kitty Powers Matchmaker. I don't think it's on Android. It's definitely... I'm pretty sure it's only on iOS, but worth double-checking just in case.
Yeah, for sure.
It would work really nicely on a console as well, actually.
Would it? All right. Okay, my number 5 it's Destiny. I'm back on Destiny this week. I feel like everything that I read about Destiny is people talking in a language that I have no idea what any of it means, because I still haven't hit level 20. I got towards the end of the game and then basically started the game again from the beginning, and I've almost caught myself up playing with different people, but still have not got to the point where they call it the end game, where everything changes and there's light, and I don't really understand what anybody's talking about anymore when they talk about Destiny. Everybody's got past that point and are experiencing it from there. And
it's really not complicated. You just have to wear specific armor, and then you earn a different kind of currency. It's very straightforward.
Okay, well that's fine. But yeah, still haven't finished the story of the game, just because there's been so many other things that we've had to play for work and whatnot. But it's still thoroughly enjoyable sessions last night. Unfortunately, we were a little bit under-leveled to play it on the highest difficulty level, and a bit over-leveled to play it on the difficulty level that it was on. It really does... hopefully for the sequel, they can smooth all that process out, so it's better to play it with people with different levels. And, I mean, this was silly. We had one level 8, one level 7, and one at the very top of level 6, and we couldn't play, like, the harder difficulty level on one of the missions, so we did it on normal, and it was just like we were barely paying attention. We were just chatting, and it's not actually much fun unless there's a challenge, and when there is a challenge, it's absolutely tremendous. But that's all stuff that we've said about the game before. But it was just really nice to go back to it. I forgot how good it looked, even though I'd only played it a couple of weeks previously. But it really does look stunning. the guy that I was playing with, Matt, again, from who we talked about before, hadn't seen Venus before, and like the first time you walk out in there, the first time you see the enemy that appears on Venus for the first time is that is a really striking level, actually, where they first appear and start walking, like marching in a line, kind of like something out of Doctor Who. I don't like Doctor Who, but I can kind of imagine that happening in Doctor Who. And it's just destiny, isn't it? Like you said yourself, it's always going to be there, and it does feel like that. It feels like, okay, I'm not at level 20 yet, and all that stuff's there, and people are talking about it, but I will get there. It's only a matter of time. Then I'll know what all that stuff is, and then maybe one day I'll try that raid, which I read just before the podcast had been finished by a team of 2, which sounds absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea how that happened. Just from me and Matt trying to do a normal level with just 2 of us and really struggling. So there's some crazy people out there.
Yeah. I haven't played Destiny this week, but
it's only a matter of time, isn't it?
It is only a matter of time, and it's always going to be there. And
yeah, it was just nice to pick it back up, and it might be a little while again before I can pick it back up, but it's going to get picked back up.
Yeah, likewise. Okay, my number 4 is a game called Chariot on the Xbox One. I spoke about this briefly last week. Have you played this?
No.
Okay, it's the free games with gold on Xbox month. The free games with gold on Xbox month.
You said Xbox month twice. That's what it's called now. The Xbox month. I'm going to call it out. That's better.
I've got to do that bit again.
Oh no, that was good.
No, it's terrible. I've got to do it again.
Month.
Okay, it's this month's free game with gold on Xbox One, and it's highly recommended. I played it last week, and I did the first few levels on co-op and on my own sort of mixture, and I thought it was incredibly promising, and it lives up to that promise at the same time as revealing itself to be not the game it starts out as. It's a very, very large and very, very slow-paced game featuring some really, really elaborate maps, loads of side paths, and really long-winded hidden areas. It's a game that's built for speedruns at the same time as just having a wealth of secrets in it. I'm not entirely. I mean, I started playing this and I thought it's really accessible, it's really easy to understand, and while those things are still true, it's really, really taxing, and it's really, really long-winded. Levels can take upwards of half an hour to complete. But yeah, you're these either one character on its own or 2 characters, and you're wheeling this dead king around in a chariot. It is incredibly straightforward. It's physics-based puzzles. You have to find blueprints that allow you to do other things, like attach your ropes to things with a peg, which only lasts a set duration, has a cooldown period, etc. You can find exploding canary bombs. There is combat in the game, but it's completely rudimentary, and I'm not sure why they bothered, because the game's interesting enough as it is, but periodically you'll just be thrown into combat, which just involves a bit of button mashing. I mean, it's not terrible, but I just kind of wonder why they bother putting it in the game. There's different entrances, different starting points, and it's really complex. And it is a very, very solid co-op game. But if you are looking to sort of play something, if you're thinking about playing it as a single player experience, it holds up just fine on your own. You're kind of mocked throughout by these constant signs that point towards puzzles that require 2 people. And some of the darker levels, as you go really deep underground in these caves, they're quite difficult to see with only one source of light instead of 2. Okay. But it's still enjoyable on your own. The game's primary manoeuvre, though, is moving left and right, bouncing around on walls, and that does get tiresome occasionally, because some of the environments are so large. And especially in those dark areas where you're jumping on small platforms left to right, that does get a little bit boring. It seems like that's the game's trick of padding it out a little bit. It doesn't overdo it, but it's definitely there a little bit. You're also punished way too much for making tiny mistakes. And so many of the levels involve you moving through large sections upwards. So if you trip, a tiny mistake, you fall and lose sometimes a hefty amount of progress because you have to go all the way back up again. That's annoying. But aside from that, it's a really likeable game. There's some humour in it. I mean, there's a bit that made me smile was where the king's berating the level design. And it's
I thought the king was dead.
The king is dead, but he's constantly talking to you. You're being led around trying to find these ornaments that he's looking for.
How weird.
It's a very weird game, but it's very amiable. Although it feels like a kids game, a very, very accessible kids game. I don't know if it is. You know what? Maybe it is. I used to play hard games when I was a kid. I underestimate younguns, but it's a more interesting game than I thought it was. It's definitely harder than I thought it was, and it's not a short game in the short term or the long term, because if you want to do a level, that can sometimes those half-hour levels, they start being that long quite fast, actually.
Okay. So
after the easy opening, it starts to get really taxing, but it's gratifying, it's enjoyable. I recommend it. I mean, I'm probably going to finish it next week, so I may talk about it again, but I blitzed through, I think, 40-odd%, so
all right.
There's so many secrets in it. It's very big indeed. But it's good. It's really good. I think if you're looking for a challenge, it's definitely worth a look.
I'll download it, and I just can't see when I'm ever going to have the chance to play it, really.
Maybe you'll just think, oh wow, this is a great, because it is a very good idea. I've not seen it done before, and it's very well made. It's just can't argue with it, and it's more what's the fucking word? I don't know what the word is. It's good.
Yeah. All right. My number 4 then is Forza Horizon 2. I was going to say Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon 2. I don't have a huge amount to add to what we spoke about last week, but just playing some more, enjoying kind of the back end of the single player content. I haven't unlocked the final Forza Horizon final event or whatever it's called, which you unlock by winning 15 of the in-game championships, and you can kind of just pick and choose which championships you do with what types of cars. It's very, as we said last week, it's a very hippie-ish, amiable, laid-back type of game that just lets you kind of cultivate your own game experience within it. So yeah, I haven't got to that finale yet, but it's just it's an absolutely delicious driving game. It really is. It's so enjoyable. Just it is so. I'll start again. It is so enjoyable just to drive around the roads and enjoy the physics of the cars. And I'm no car nerd, as I've said many, many times, but it just feels nice on the controller. It feels nicer than pretty much any driving game that I can remember, especially because of the rumble triggers in the Xbox One pad, which are excellent. And it's a lovely game. We haven't really had the time yet to play online with a good big group of us, which I think will be a fantastic experience if we get sort of 4 or 5 or even more than that on there in the same amount of time, in the same time. But what a game! What an exclusive! Just super strong. Very, very little bad to say about it. I think overall I probably like the Colorado setting more than the South of Europe setting. I don't know if that's just because that Colorado setting's almost like really alien to me, whereas not that I've been to the south of France or northern Italy really, but there's just that kind of that part of the world is reasonably familiar in terms of how it looks. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but it's small. It's a small difference anyway. It's not a huge thing.
I don't have a massive amount to add either. It's just great. It's a great place to escape to. I like Destiny. I'm really happy that a couple of my friends have got it installed, as have I, on the hard drive. So it's not going anywhere. And a few months down the line, it's a really nice thing to go and do. Do you want to go for a cruise? Yeah, wicked. Because it's just everything about that game is very, very pleasant.
Yes, absolutely.
And I do think it's got the power to shift Xbox Ones. Whether it does or not, I don't know. But it really is a terrific game, and not just for really, really hardcore petrol head people.
Yeah, it's a real head turner if you saw that in a shop or around a friend's house playing, for sure.
Yeah, it's very good indeed. So what was that?
That's my 4.
Okay, my number 3 is FIFA 15.
As it is mine.
Xbox One. Okay. FIFA 15 has gone down very sharply in my estimation, but then again...
As it has mine.
That's just FIFA. There's little point in lambasting it for deteriorating into a shit show, because that's what happens. That's what everyone wants to happen. That's what people who play FIFA want to happen.
Yeah.
I will say this. There's a lot of elements I'm not sure about, because, as we've said a billion times, you have to judge these after you've put an untold amount of hours into them. But the next-gen goalkeepers are a catastrophe. I think that's one of the worst additions they've brought to FIFA in a very long time. Whilst they make more elaborate saves, they are just easier to predict. You can score a wider variety of goals in FIFA 15, as you've said, but... it doesn't matter, because online players have worked out 3 or 4 ways to flummox the keeper more or less every time. So you just see the same stuff every game. Every game is a goal fest, but this is what people want. Also, as I said last week, the passing is so effective that And this is something that used to happen in FIFA 10 as well, which also had overly effective passing. I was playing a game of co-op seasons and we went 2-0 down, but we started really coming back. We had a few really good chances, and I thought we were going to come back and sort of at least draw. Our opponents just ran the clock out for 30 in-game minutes by just passing between their keeper and their back four, and we could not do anything. It was impossible for us to do anything. And I remember having situations like that on FIFA 10 because the passings are too accurate. You can't intercept the ball. You need an act of God. Also, we had another game of co-op seasons, which was a little bit more interesting, where as soon as our opposition team, the people we were playing against, as soon as they got the ball, they'd basically score. And then we'd kick off, and they'd either let us, as soon as they got possession, they'd just pass us the ball back. They'd let us score, and then as soon as they kicked off again, they'd go straight and score again. And then when they keep giving us the ball, and then it just tit for tat, just so they could be. The score finished 7-4, I think it was. So it kind of felt like a statement, like we've cracked this year's FIFA already. We've figured it out. FIFA's like a puzzle for wankers. I don't understand. I personally don't want to learn how to break this thing. I just want to play it. All I want to do is have a game of football. But there aren't many people who want the same things I do. Clearly, it's all about trying to manipulate the code on the disc. The only reason I described FIFA fans as wankers is because I still can't get my head over people forcing you to watch replays. I don't understand it. 99% of the time that's a conservative estimate of the amount of time people force you to watch replays. I've played FIFA at places like expos and press events. Do people watch the replays now? Do they watch the replays then? No, of course they don't, because it's really rude. It's really out of order. But the FIFA 15... it's the internet and microcosm. I've said all this before. It's an opportunity for people to behave like a twat. Do you want to take it? Everyone takes it.
Yeah.
Awful.
Massively gone down in my estimation as well. I've still enjoyed parts of it, but like you, I've started to enjoy it more because I've been winning, because I've been playing FIFA 15 and not playing football anymore. When I was playing offline against the computer, it's much easier to play football, to create moves, and the game compensates for that well, and that's where the wide variety of goals was coming from. I was trying to play like that online, was having no success and conceding ridiculous goals. Everybody was just passing it to a winger, cutting inside, dribbling around people. You just could not stop them. And then if they're a good enough player, you'd stand your defender in front of them, you'd get a foot in, and then they just take it immediately back off you and kind of barge you out of the way.
Yeah.
So I worked out two things. One, that playing as Man United, that Di Maria is one of those players, so I can just do that to other people, dribble into them, just tackle them. But they basically might as well not be there. I'll just nutmeg them, walk past them. He's a joke. And the other thing is to stop playing football, stop trying to get the ball out wide and putting clever crosses. Just ping the ball up to the strikers. They've got three forwards at United, and just do some 1-2 ping-pong passing, and eventually you'll get room to play a through ball, and then take it, and then just smash it into the top corner. And I'm not really having any fun doing that, to be honest. I mean, it's more fun to win than it is to lose. But I think playing offline, one-on-one, so multiplayer offline, like the olden days, would still be pretty fun. Say if you and I to have a game at one or the other person's house, I think we could it would be fun, because we'd both kind of be there to play a football match. Yeah. And, you know, I'd be more inclined to try something spectacular or put together a really clever move than I would do just to beat you, because, I mean, who cares? But nobody online's like that, really. And I understand, but I don't know. What happened to just enjoying the beauty of football?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just so ugly. It's just I get no satisfaction over scoring those types of goals. And I've seen in this game there is such a great variety of goals when you play the offline game. There really is. And I just don't like. Great, I tackled your defender and stuck it in the top corner, and I won 1-0. I just feel nothing. I feel nothing.
1-0. That's impressive. I don't think I've had.
I don't even know. As I said that, I was like, it wasn't 1-0, was it? It was like 4-3 or something.
Yeah. But this is clearly what people want. I guess.
In fairness, actually, because I remember saying this to you on text message. I said we had a game, and the game I had just before that, I had a 1-1 United v Chelsea, and the other person just wanted to play like me, wanted to play good football, try and play the way Chelsea played. I tried to play the way United played. He scored a good goal. I scored a good goal. There were some chances. It was really good, and I just thought, you know, if it could always be like that, then it would be glorious. But the only reason it's like that is because we have, through no reason whatsoever, both kind of gentlemanly agreed to play the game in a much better spirit than most. He didn't watch his replay, I didn't watch my replay. I wanted to kind of digitally reach my hand through his screen and shake his hand. But yeah, that was a literal one-off. That's the only game that's been like that out of the 40, 50 I've played.
That guy's probably going to sell FIFA, and then the chance of a game like that will never happen.
Yeah, that guy's getting Pro Evo in November.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. I don't know. I'm trying to see the good in it, but I just can't.
I think it's agony on co-op. It's not so bad when you're on your own. I find it agonising on co-op because of the way the opposition can control their run so much better, so they can game the system even easier than playing on their own.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do know what you mean. Yeah, I've had some very, very frustrating games on co-op, but I wish they just re-release a spruced up version of FIFA 12.
I didn't like that either.
Didn't you?
Nah.
Oh, all right. All right, well, shut my mouth.
I think I liked 09. That's about it.
I think I like 10, I liked 11, I liked 12. I think I like 13, I can't remember. But whatever. FIFA 15, I might speak about it again. Probably briefer and hopefully more positive, but I doubt it.
Yes.
Okay, so that was your number 3?
It was, yeah.
Okay, my number 2 is Pix the Cat on the PlayStation 4. This is another lovely surprise to appear on PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus has been successful for several reasons, but personally for me, I just love having titles thrown at me that I'd never heard of, and for the most part, they feel so carefully chosen. They all feel as if they belong on PlayStation exclusively. What did you played this a bit? What did you reckon?
I really enjoyed what I played. I wasn't quite wrapping my head around how I could get any further, if that makes any sense. I was just playing the arcade mode of this game that's kind of a cross between Pac-Man DX Edition and Snake, I guess. And then you kind of the level next to the one that you're on. I'll rewind because that's confusing. You play a little cat. You're in a little maze, top down. You have to pick up eggs and then drop the eggs off on these little targets. I don't know why you have to do it. No, you have to pick up eggs and they turn into ducks that go behind you, and then you drop those ducks off into little targets. Once you've dropped all the ducks off, a little portal will open up, and you go to the next level. But you kind of keep going deeper and deeper into the screen almost. It's a really cool visual trick that you're probably better off watching a YouTube video of than me trying to describe it. But I played the arcade mode maybe 5 times, and I felt I was getting a little bit better every time, but I couldn't really work out how I could get much better because it just felt like I didn't have enough time. So I needed. Hopefully, you can explain how you get further because I couldn't really understand how I could get much further.
Yeah, it doesn't do an amazing job. I mean, on the intro screen, the instructions. They basically downsize the whole game into 3 little bullet points. It says collect eggs, drop ducklings, go deeper. That's all it says, and it's actually the main system of the game involves how you do that. I mean, like you said, you pick up these eggs, they turn into ducklings, they follow you around like Snake. What is not explained is that you need to collect all of the eggs on each screen before you can start dropping them into the target panels. That's how you perfect levels.
Yeah.
So needless to say, the levels become more maze-like, so it's harder to pick up all of the eggs without hitting a target first because they're scattered all over the place. And making no mistakes means a speed increase also, so it does get a little bit more difficult. The game's really fast, and you're moving between rooms of various sizes. Sometimes you need to move in and out of rooms through different entrances in order to complete them. And oftentimes, it should be really hard to know what's going on because the structure of the sort of overworld map is so elaborate. But once you've acclimatized to how it looks... I don't know. What did you play this on? PlayStation 4?
I played it on Vita. It might be a bit too small.
I was just going to say I don't know how it translates because I played it on PS4, and there are sections where you're moving around the tiny borders of larger maps, and you and the collectibles are tiny, even on a large screen. So I kind of suspect that the Vita version is almost unplayable at different points. I
didn't get to that level of smallness, but I was already finding that it was starting to get a little bit too diddy from where I was. But I got to the same room about 4 times in a row, and I just couldn't really see how I was going to have enough time to get much further. Yeah, right. Even though I thought I was pretty much perfecting every screen up until that point.
Did you know that you had to get everything before you could start dropping them off?
I worked that out pretty quickly, yeah.
Oh, it took me a little bit longer. I wasn't sure why the multipliers were dying so fast. So, but yeah, it is very simple. That aside, although it doesn't explain that side of it, you unlock artwork and funny commentator voices. I unlocked a little while ago Rage Quit Kid, I think it's called, which is quite welcome. But yeah, I think it does take a little longer than necessary, or rather it did me, to fully understand it. But once it clicks...
so how long can you make an arcade run last?
I started playing arcade... Well, the time doesn't really go up. It's how...
Oh, so it's always that amount of time. It's just how deep you can get.
As far as I know, I mean, I played the next mode that unlocks, which I think is just called main game. I think it's just called main, which is a different set of environments. But the clock's always the same. You're just racing to try and beat the clock. But
okay.
As far as I'm aware, as far as I know, there's no way of changing the amount of time. I might be wrong on that, but I'll find out because I'm going to play it some more. But once you understand it, I played it for about 6 hours today, and
wow.
it becomes a work of unparalleled genius. Like Velocity Ultra and Velocity 2X, it's a fusion of so many things that A, it shouldn't really work, and B, it's kind of unfair to label it as anything, because it is a puzzle game, but it's also an action game, it's a score attack game, but it also kind of benefits from being taken slow. It's definitely not without its pleasures if you want to play it slowly, but obviously it's high speed is how you're supposed to do it. But some bits demand a bit of thought and care, while other bits test your reflexes. And the game involves having to balance your concentration, because if you concentrate too much on not hitting your tail, because your tail grows as you pick up the collectibles, you end up forgetting that this is a speedrun game as well. So vice versa, if you rush, you make foolish mistakes and you forget that you have to avoid your tail, etc. There are some excellent alternate modes as well. There's laboratory mode, which kind of restricts your movement a little bit. It kind of plays like a classic soccer band game where you can only move out of corners. Right. And nostalgia mode is basically the same. It's animated to look like a sort of pre-World War One animation, black and white. And the main focus is on staying alive long enough to get a required number of collectibles each time. That's a great mode. There's even local multiplayer, but I haven't had the chance to check that out yet. I haven't been in a situation to try it. But even without the multiplayer, all those modes as a package, I just think it's stunning. The only reason to be wary of playing it is that it's almost impossible to put it down once you start chasing your own highest scores, because there's a ghost system where your highest score is always buzzing around in front of you. And because you're tapping, or rather I was tapping, I think the D-pad's a better method of control than the control sticks. Because I was tapping on the D-pad so furiously the whole time, it's the first game in years where I can honestly say, straight up, honestly, that I had to stop playing because my thumbs hurt too much. Seriously. It's another one of those bullshit-free indie games that really is all killer, no filler. It's just a complete and utter stunner. PlayStation Plus already gave us one of the year's best games in Velocity 2X, and this is another one.
Wow, I need to get it on PS4.
Yeah, you really do. It is amazing. You've got to download it.
Oh, definitely will. Yeah, I like what I played on Vita, but I'm definitely just going to get it on PS4.
I was kind of like that for the first half hour, and then just once you really... It will take hold, and it's so well designed. You can't argue with any aspect of it. I mean... The trophies, I haven't even made a dent in those. They look ridiculously hard, but I want to try and see, because they look unattainable right now, and the game's so good that I'm just like, I want to sort of make a dent in at least some of those.
Awesome,
amazing
awesome
game.
stuff.
Yeah,
awesome. Right, I think my number 2 is actually your number 1, so I'm going to switch mine around to make it make more sense. So my new number 2 is now Driveclub on PS4, which. I know has had a few problems since it launched yesterday, namely the fact the servers don't work. And I must say, in the time that I've played it, which is a good amount of time, the servers didn't work either. So I'm missing all of that aspect of Driveclub, the joining of clubs, the competing with your friends, the kind of auto-log type stuff, which is woven directly into the game in every single fabric of the game. But I haven't really tested any of that. All I've tested is the driving itself. I must say, this game starts poorly. That's actually an understatement. It starts fucking awfully. You're put on probably the ugliest track you'll play in the whole game. You're stuck in a fucking Mini. There's no music, there's no atmosphere, and you just drive this boring-ass slow mini around this track, and you're like, what am I playing? I mean, how compared to how Forza Horizon 2 starts, where you get taken off that, you drive off the ship, and you're doing that amazing cruise and the intro and everything like that. You know, they're not the same type of game. Driveclub is not an open-world racer, but still. 2 or 3 races in, I was like, this is just so bland and just nothing. Why is there no music, I thought? So I thought, okay, well, I'll dive into the menu. Is there music? And yeah, there is. It just defaults to 0% volume for some reason. I have no idea why. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the engines, I guess, sound nice, but I whack the music up and it's just this kind of selection of drum and bass tunes, which, like the drum and bass channel in Forza Horizon 2, just really fit the action really well. I'm not a huge drum and bass fan by any stretch of the imagination, but it's basically the same type of music that was in Motorstall, which is the same studio, Evolution Studios. And yeah, as soon as I put that on and I unlocked the new car, you have to start off in crappy cars, but it doesn't last very long. And then quickly you're into more, it's like BMWs and stuff. So you know you're traveling at a decent speed. And then I started to really start to enjoy myself. Actually, it's a real throwback of a game. Like I said, I haven't tested the online side of it. There's an online multiplayer, which I can't really see me playing that much, but even asynchronous stuff against all the, I'm going to call it auto-loggy type stuff, it's clearly so focused around that because every challenge in the game is very, very focused, and normally it only lasts about 3 minutes. They're on a very specific set of track, and it's all about either racing as hard as you can, or if it's just a point-to-point time trial, shaving split seconds off your time. But the handling model is fantastic. It doesn't feel quite as deep or believable as Forza's, but it really feels like you are pushing these cars that you're driving to the absolute limit, and you're hitting every corner just as tight as you can. There's no racing line, but they do this really clever thing where the corners just have flags around them, like it's the same type of flag as there is in Forza, just like a pole that goes up with like a bit of I'm describing a flag here, I realise. But they're like racing fucking flags. I don't know. People who know what they're talking about will know what I mean. But they colour code them. So it's green for a nice easy corner, yellow for a harder corner, and red for a severe corner. And it kind of does the job of that that on-track racing line without having to ever be so obvious about it. And it's just a really elegant solution. And you end up through a handling model which is sort of that kind of halfway between arcade, halfway between sim, in a similar way to Forza's. You start pushing these cars to the limit, and like as a racer, as a pure racer against the AI, it's a bit of a cracker, to be honest. I was really enjoying it as a pure racer. In terms of the race events, I was preferring it to Forza. Just from start to finish, like there's so much more to Forza that it's difficult to compare them because Forza's so broad and obviously they're on different consoles as well, but for people who have both. But just, that pure racing experience in Driveclub is super, super good. And the further you get, you start to unlock more cars. It's just kind of a throwback in that respect. There's events, you level up, it unlocks you a new car. You're not having to go and choose all your cars in a shop. I kind of enjoyed the structure of it because it's really old-fashioned and kind of restrictive, but it was kind of nice to play something where I didn't have to think for myself, if that makes any sense. It was like, here's the new track, here's the new car. You don't have to worry, you don't have to make too many choices. Just go and try and nail this track. And that's obviously completely deliberate, the idea being that you're going to be playing the same tracks over and over and over again, competing with your friends or enemies or whatever. And I have to say, after that first track let me down, it looks absolutely superb at times, this game. They're still to patch in the weather, so it still feels completely unfinished, but I wasn't even really too aware of the weather even being a part of this game. Regardless, it just looks the absolute business. The lighting model it's just not of this world. Forza Horizon's an amazing looking game, but this looks, at times, it manages to better it. Just like coming around a corner and there's Canadian mountains in the distance and the sun is coming through the clouds and the way they've done it, and it's reflecting off all the other cars in front of you, and it just, honestly, mate, it looks the absolute business. But yeah, but by the time I turned it off after a few hours, I was like, this is a really fucking good game. And I feels like some of those reviews that are quite low scores, they feel a little harsh. one was written, the Eurogamer one was written by someone who knows an infinite amount more about cars than me, just from the wording he used and the language he used in it. So, fair enough. Oh yeah, the reason that it got some of the low reviews is because it can be quite punitive. Like Forza and PGR before it, you get points for how well you drive, so like drifting, drafting, all that sort of stuff. It's kind of a common thing now. But if an AI car shunts up the back of you, which happens quite a lot, you'll lose points for that, which is a bit annoying. Yeah. And if you say you cut a corner, you'll be punished for that in the way that your throttle will be stifled, for want of a better word, for a few seconds. So you basically slow down to a crawl and speed back up again. It doesn't take a time penalty off you. It stops you like that. So you basically can't cut corners. You can't use other cars to crash hard off to take a corner with. I can see how that will hand people up, but I just thought, well, that seems like a good idea, because it's all about trying to race this track as well as you possibly can against other people. If you're cutting corners or using other cars to take corners, that kind of defeats the purpose of it, I think. So I had no problem with any of that stuff. I thought that was actually quite elegant design. And yeah, it is disappointing that the servers aren't working. If I'd paid out for the digital version that day, thankfully this was sent through by Sony, but if I'd actually put down the money myself and the fucking servers still weren't working, I would be fuming. So I think that's something that they need to rectify immediately. The PS Plus version is obviously delayed, which I know is wound people up as well. But as a product, as the game that I played right now, after a really shitty start, I was really kind of liking it a lot, actually. It was really good.
Having played the full version, do you think you would be satisfied with 30% of it, or whatever the PS Plus probably going to?
No, I don't think so. Just judging by what you get, I think 30% is a bit. Judging by, I've read what you get in it, and it doesn't really sound like 30%. I think you could probably make it 30% by some of the later unlocks of the cars if you want to fudge the numbers. It sounds like a number fudge to me, because you're only getting a few tracks in one area, and there's lots of areas. I think that's the most important thing, the variety of the areas and the variety of the events and things like that. I think it's going to be a really good demo, but it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like a big old demo, that PS Plus thing, which is still pretty good, but compared to kind of what they're advertising as in the first place. But it's good. I don't think if you've got PS4, there's nothing coming out this year exclusively apart from this. I don't think you'd be disappointed. I've got to be honest. I think it's really good. I think you have to know what it is going in. It's not the expansive open world race that some people seem to think it is for some reason. I never thought it was that. It's not Gran Turismo. It's certainly no Need for Speed. It's kind of a similar style of handling to Forza Horizon and PGR, done just on some really well designed, beautiful looking tracks. I just like it. Yeah, I dug it. The main thing is it really feels like you're pushing those cars to the limit in a way that not many racing games have managed to capture, and the sensation of speed is almost second to none outside of Criterion, which is kind of a different thing anyway. But in terms of a more sensible, for want of a better word, racing game, I don't think I've ever felt one that felt faster, and that it definitely includes Forza Horizon 2.
Well, shit. Okay, I'm a lot more interested.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an absolute world beater or anything like that, but I did really like it, and do really like it.
Has there been an update on when this is actually coming to PS Plus?
It's maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. Like, it's not going to be long. It's just they're doing a one in, one out, which I haven't heard since I was a student, on the servers, so which is just madness. And then they're up shit creek, and they need to get it sorted. They need to get it sorted quick, because that sort of stuff doesn't really fly anymore.
Not in this. Not when you're paying 40 quid for a PlayStation.
Or 50 quid, or whatever it is. Yeah. Oh, 40 quid for your PS Plus. Yeah.
Oh, and the game, obviously.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
One in, one out. Wow.
Yes, I read that today. I haven't tried to go on, but yeah, it will select the one from random as well, so it's not even a queue. Imagine if you're in a nightclub, and that's how it works. One in, one out, but we're just going to randomly select someone from the queue to come in.
What? So you can't even... That's mental.
Yeah, so it's not like, okay, but then the number would be like your 700,000th in the queue or something like that, so I guess it's the only way they could do it.
God. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure they're killing themselves to get it working, but at the same time, that doesn't really matter to the consumer.
Is it better than Forza?
No.
Okay.
But when you jump into Forza's race events, I preferred the race events in this.
Wow. Okay.
But I love all the other stuff in Forza more. You know, this just feels like those race events. It doesn't have anything else, but the race events are better.
Okay.
But it's close.
Right.
It's close.
All right, good. Well, yeah, I was a bit down on that game because it did seem like everyone was having a bit of a pop at it. But okay, that's good to hear. Well, all right, well, our number ones are the same then. Alien Isolation.
Alien Isolation, indeed.
Okay, well, I've done 12 hours, but I suppose if you've just started it, then why don't you go?
Yeah, I've probably done about 3, maybe 3.5. First things first, I picked up the PC version, which was for like 23 quid, which is amazing for a game. This was the day after it came out. I looked at the PS4 version was 55 quid digitally, PC version 23 quid. I know it's no news that PC games are cheaper, but still, that's less than half the price. That's a joke. And even if I was buying it directly through Steam, it was only like 30 quid. So, something needs to be done. I know there's reasons why they're more expensive, but that is a joke. And another shout out, like, I have a lot of problems with games that I've played on this PC since I bought it. Almost every game that I've played, I've had to sit in menus trying to work out which tiny little thing to turn off to make the game run right. And this straight in, high settings, ultra, everything turned up to max like it defaulted, just runs smooth as shit. So well done, Creative Assembly, on, for me anyway, making finally a game that just ran like it was on a console. You spoke last week about how the opening of the game is not good, and after about half an hour I was like, I think maybe you're being a bit harsh here, because I didn't mind the opening cinematics, the walking through the shit. I was like, okay, they're just racking up tension. And then you meet a Scottish person who is awful. It's just acted, it's just awful. It's just an awful, I just wanted to go away. It's awful, crap dialogue, really bad jokes. His accent didn't sound right. It's just like you're ruining it. You're really ruining the game. And I was just, and from when he turns up until basically where I am now, which is almost like 90 minutes to 2 hours worth of game, it's just crap.
Yeah.
Just like really boring, like dialogue heavy bits. A really terrible bit where you have to avoid some humans who one of them shoots at you and that misses, but there's like no clue of what you're supposed to do after that. So you pick up a thing and a cutscene happens, and then you have to move. Like, you're supposed to kind of go from where they were and go through a door. But it's like, it's fair enough the game doesn't tell you to do that, but it's also like the stealth parameters aren't really in the game at that point. So later on you can start, like, within half an hour at that point, you can hide under tables and shit. At this point, you still can't. I mean, I assume you could, but there aren't any tables to hide under. There's no like light or dark meters. You don't have a motion tracker. And there's 4 people with guns, and if they see you, they kill you. And I must have died 15 times on that bit. I had to use a guide to work out what to do. And even then, I had to wrench a couple of guys in the back of the head, and that just felt completely out of character to be killing people at that point. I just felt like, why don't you just cut all this? Because then the alien turns up, and then you get to the bit where all the terrifying androids happen, and the way they're introduced is really, really effective. And I was like, yeah, this is really strong. You could have just cut that. I hear it's a really long game, so you could have just cut just a baffling section of the game, which is just threatening to make me almost want to turn it off. But yeah, now I'm at the bit where the aliens turned up, is pretty damn scary, and then I was navigating an area where these working Joe androids are, their red eyes, and when they catch up to you and when they come after you, it shit me right up. I'm not going to lie to you, it really did shit me right up. The way they just walk straight at you, and then I went to go and swing my wrench at one, and it just grabbed my arm. It was like, pretty sure it was like scene for scene from some film that I've seen. But yeah, I do not like those guys at all. I just want to be nowhere near them. And the fact that I could, if I run away from them, that could be the thing that disturbs the alien to then get me the other way. It was just a wholly unpleasant and very effective experience. So I'm looking forward to getting past where I am and enjoying what the game is, because I felt, okay, now the game started like 3 hours in. And it's like, so I'm all for racketing out the tension, but it's like, what's happening? For a long period of time, it's like, what is this? Why is any of this happening? Go away, Scottish person. All the dialogue of the other people is awful. And it just kills where you spend all this time creating this tension and the sound design is this little bit like, if you move too quickly, your trainer squeaks. Like, it's brilliant. And then the dialogue the dialogue itself isn't awful. It's just the voice acting so crap, and it just shatters and the way that Scottish guy moved in front of me. He's just, he almost moved like the androids do, like stopping and turning, and it's like, this is just shattering any suspension of disbelief that I had. Real mixed bag so far, but where I am right now, I'm into it.
Okay, I'm really into it as well. Alien Isolation is a very, very difficult game. It's actually, in a strange way, it's kind of comparable to Destiny in that I think it's kind of a mistake to go in with any kind of traditional ideas about what to expect regarding your progress through it. And I still love it, despite how much wrong there is with it. And there really are problems, as there was with Destiny. There are real problems with Alien Isolation. I'm about 12 hours in, as I said. Perhaps maybe a little bit more than that. And I mean, aside from some of the ham-fisted acting, I really like the storytelling. I really love hearing about the origins of this abandoned colony. And it very much reminded me of the Swapper. They're actually very similar, because in both games you're given these small germs of information about a mutiny, and there's these clandestine rumblings about this shady corporation, and then people are trying to bribe each other to get on side with militia groups. All that stuff is really interesting. My only problem with it is that that's all of that stuff is, you find it on computer terminals. It's all text, but everything is very conversational. It's very chatty. It reads like dialogue, not written correspondence. There are quite a few instances, where you're reading a transcript of an audio log, but mostly it's supposed to be written correspondence, and they do not read that way. That threw me off a little bit. It read like dialogue. It didn't read like that kind of correspondence. Another thing I really like, and a thing that's really worth praising, is that the alien looks like a creature. One of the funniest things about Colonial Marines is that the aliens look like men in suits, which was a completely bizarre situation. Although probably, when you break it down, very similar to how the film, because the alien in the movies was a man in a suit because they didn't have the resources, and similarly, I guess they didn't have the budget for the game to create anything that didn't move like a human. Also, I have to. Are you playing? Oh, you're playing on PC, aren't you?
Yeah.
I have to big up the head tracking on Kinect again. If you're playing on Xbox One, I've been playing this really late at night, and I'd be in a locker, for example, and the first time this happened, I wasn't sure what the zoom button was, and I was in the locker. The alien was walking around, and I didn't want to accidentally jump out of the locker because I'd forgotten what the button was. So I peered forward to see if I could see any clearer, and the perspective shifted exactly along with me.
Oh,
and I heard something, let back, and again, it works so well. Connect with this game. I'm so glad I'm playing on Xbox One. I've heard the really cool feature on PS4 is that all of the motion sensor beeps come out of the pad, which is really neat as well. So I think they're having not played that version, I'd plump with the Connect, but they both sound really cool. Similarly with Destiny, I can understand how some people may not like it, because it's people's expectation. It's not tied to kind of traditional sort of beacons of progression, if you like, because hiding and waiting often is the game for long periods, and that my relationship with it is very much a love-hate one at the moment, because at around the 7-hour mark, about 7 hours in, I had 2 of the best hours gaming I've had all year, bar none, sneaking around, outsmarting the alien. And I've heard a couple of complaints that the game feels like it's not directed. It's so crafted. That sequence that I did, I was manoeuvring around a circular a load of rooms, and the alien was I was basically ducking and diving, and we were circling around each other, and I was moving in and out of cover and stuff like that. It was so crafted. It was so directed, and it was so exciting to realise that you had no choice but to outsmart it, and that's another reason why it feels like such an authentic Alien game, because in all of the films, almost everybody thought that they could kill this thing, apart from the smartest person in the room, who was always Ripley. But I did that 2-hour section, and I almost tweeted something really prickish. I was going to say something like, isolation cannot be disliked, it can only be misunderstood. Like a right cunt. I'm glad I didn't send that, because as soon as I finished that bit, I reached a small section that I had to redo well over 15 times through no fault of my own. Literally, it was a section so badly designed that it honestly felt like it had come from Colonial Marines. I'd walk over a panel, instant death. The enemy would just pop out of the ceiling. Okay. Sometimes I'd walk around the corner, I'd have the motion tracker, nothing, face to face with the alien. It wasn't on the motion tracker. Rah, you're dead. This is when you've done 10 minutes that you can't get back and you haven't saved. So that gets annoying. It's trial and error nonsense. There's literally nothing I could have done to prevent those instances from happening. Sometimes you're walking in on the alien, just drop out the ceiling in front of you, die. Well, give me, those situations are indefensible because all you're doing is forcing me to go back, and you're penalising me for literally doing something that I could not have helped. Also, I don't know how this is on all the other formats, but on Xbox One, you press A to jump in lockers, and it's unbelievably unresponsive. You need to hold it down, but if you tap it, and then I sometimes think they've done it on purpose, because sometimes the prompt doesn't even come up, and you're hammering the A button, and then you have to hold it for slightly longer because footsteps are coming after you, and you're more on edge. But it's really frustrating because you can't just do what you're trying to do. But anyway, after that section, which took it took more than an hour of me doing the same bit over and over and over again and failing through no fault of my own, I did another 2-hour section that was just magic. It was exciting. There was tension like nothing else. It was 2 hours of the best gaming I've done in the whole of this year. And it was followed again by a short section that I did again and again and again for an hour because I kept being stitched up by something that I could not have prevented. My heart wants to call this game a masterpiece non-stop, but my head just can't believe the stupidity of some of the design. It is imperfect as an understatement. The terrible sketchiness of some of it is a small price to pay, I think, for the uncompromising brilliance of the rest of it, but I'm going to reserve judgment for the moment, but at this point, it is a brilliant game with some inexplicable and indefensible kinks in it that I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting, and I'm interested to see what happens when you finally get to the end of it.
Yeah, when I've been thinking about this game, and I have thought about this game in the last few months because I've heard so much about it, and I didn't want to get my hopes up. And I was thinking about it, I was like, if they can make it so that there's no reprieve, you're constantly triggering cutscenes here and there. You're just always in the moment. They've done that to an extent, but when the save points are so far apart, and that's good because it does create suspense.
Yeah.
But when you walk over or walk under a panel and the alien's not moving, so it's not appearing on the motion tracker, dead, go back. I'm sorry. You cannot defend that. That is not a game system. That's just them pulling the rug from out of you and making you go and do something more. They cannot defend that as far as I'm concerned. But when the game works, it's the best game of the year. So it's a fucking trade-off. And if you get really lucky, maybe you won't have some of those problems. But I definitely had those problems, and they really tested my patience. So I love the game. I love the design of it. I love how they've made it feel like the old movies. I love the storyline, though some of the, I could have done without the sort of way some of it's delivered, but I don't know. It's a fantastic game that has some appalling things in it.
I definitely think that Scottish guy was appalling, but
yes.
Those guys shit me up, and the alien shits me up, so it's just going to be stress.
Yeah, I mean, I did have one brilliant moment. I didn't see one of those droids hiding in the room, and I was trying to do something very quickly because the alien was stalking me, and I turned around and he was there, and I was circling around this table trying to put one bullet in my gun, firing it, missing, going for and then when the game works, it is the best game of the year, bar fucking none. But when it goes wrong, I don't know. I'll speak about it next week. I hope to have finished it next week. And so, I mean, make sure you don't give up on it because.
No, I'm not going to. I was really liking where I got to.
Good. Yeah, it's that will probably change. I predict.
Yeah, probably. But at least the fucking alien's in it now. It's like 9 hours to get to the alien.
yeah. Weird opening there.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it?
That's it.
Sweet. Thank you very much for listening. As always, check us out on Twitter at John Denton, at Chet Roivas, at Chet and Johns, and of course the YouTube channel, growing every day. Chet and John on YouTube. Drop us an iTunes review if you like. Come say hello on Twitter. Give us a game recommendation if you like. You can go on the Facebook group if you want. But Facebook's kind of dead now. I think it's not very good anymore. What else is there? Just do what you want, you know. Just keep it real or not. You can just make your own choices in life.
Yeah. Good advice. All right. Well, thanks for listening. See you next week.
Bye.
Is that a good idea right where we're at? Okay, now you've got fire coming out of your engine. Looks like it's falling.
What's falling?
Well, it looks like you got sparks and shit coming out of your engine now.
Okay. Bulldog? Okay, I'm having a more serious problem now, okay?
Bugger. And I didn't make any time for pillow talk.